This is still 1.2.4 dimensioning, and what we're going to do today, our assignment for this activity is to create this block from drawing 3 of our worksheet in Fusion, and then make it into a drawing and dimension it. And then you will PDF that drawing and hand it in on Canvas. All right. But in order to be able to do this, there's a few skills that we still probably need for Fusion. So I'm going to show you how to do that using drawing number 2 right here. And that's how do we create a block that's got these funky cuts out of it, okay? If you already know how to do that, feel free to skip the movie and start trying to sketch this guy out in Fusion. But otherwise, I'm going to walk you through how to create this block in Fusion. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come into Fusion, open up my correct period, open up my 1.2.4, and then I'm going to have a new sheet here. And I've already named it, but what you would do is you would go to Save, and then save it as Drawing to Block, okay? Because we're doing this Drawing to Block, all right? Now the first thing we're going to do with this is look at the overall shape of it. It is pretty much just a rectangular block, okay? A rectangular prism. And the overall dimensions are 1, 2, 3 inches tall because every 2 blocks is an inch, so 3 inches tall by 3 inches wide by 1.5 inches deep. So I'm going to create a box that is 3 by 3 by 1.5, okay? So I'm going to come over here and say create, but first I want to do create component because this block is going to be a component that we could pull into other drawings if we wanted. So we're going to change the name. I like naming it Drawing to Block. Hit OK. And then I'm also going to make sure that my document settings are set in inches. If they're not, change them to inches right now, okay? All right. Now I'm going to create that block. So I'm going to come down and make a box. I'm going to make it on this front view. I'm going to put a spot anywhere and pull it down and say I want it to be, oh, look at that, 3 by 3. And you can tab between those boxes, and when you're done, hit return or enter. Now it's going to say, how deep do you want that box to go? Well, we already decided it's got to be 1.5 inches. So I'm going to type that into my height box and hit OK. So here's my block. That's my basic piece of material. Okay. Now I need to cut out some corners. We've got a notch right here in my drawing 2 and another notch right here that doesn't go all the way through the block. So this one does, and this one only goes through part of it. So we could do either of those first. I'm going to personally choose to do the small notch first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back over here. There's a couple ways to do this. I'm going to show you one way with my first notch and another way with my second notch. Okay? So my first notch, actually, I think I might do the big one first. Yeah, let's do the big notch first. I'm going to create another box. It's going to be on the same plane. And if I moved it around this way to the front and saw this straight on, so I clicked up here on the front. Now I'm going to place this at the corner and pull it down. And I want it to be how big? Let's go back over here and look. I want it to come over 2 inches and down 2 inches. So it's going to be a 2 by 2 block. So I'm going to come over here. And I'm going to type in that it's 2 inches by 2 inches. And the height of it, if I come back over here and I look, my depth is 0.75 inches. So that cut comes back 0.75. So I'm going to come back over here and say it's a 0.75 deep cut. And this last thing, operation, that's what I'm choosing. Before I was choosing new body because I was creating a new body. But now I'm going to cut into that body. I'm going to hit OK. And let's see what happened. Oh, there's my nice little notch. Okay, so that's how we do that by just using the box function. Or you could use any of these, a cylinder, a sphere, a torus, something in there. But what if it wasn't a standard shape? Well, then we could do the create sketch. And that's how I'm going to show you how to do the next one. So we're going to create a sketch. And it says what plane? Well, I'm not going to come back over here and hit this plane. This time I'm going to create my sketch right on the face of this notch. Okay? So it automatically gets us in that front view orientation because it's a 2D sketch. And then I come back over here and say, okay, now how big was that box up here? That was a 1" by 1" notch that will create this. So over here, I'm going to create a 1" by 1" sketch. Okay? I have a few options. I can do just lines, make line, 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 line. Or I could do a rectangle, a 2-point rectangle would be okay, where I tell it the first point, and look at it, it automatically snaps to the corner. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to pull it down and tell it it's a 1 tab 1" box. Oh, see, when I move my cursor around, it tends to move it. So I need to make sure my cursor stays in the right direction and then hit enter. All right, we finish our sketch. Once we're done with that, see, it's got a nice little box there. We're going to finish sketch. You can do it here or you can do it up here. And then there it is. Now what we're going to do with that, we're going to pick it so it highlights. And then we're going to use that extrude function that we learned before. Extrude before was to create material, pull it up through space, but it can also be used to cut away material. So we're going to use extrude, and it says, okay, which way do we want to go here? And it points out this way. Do we want to add a block? No, we don't want to do that. We want to go the other way. And notice, when I was going this way, my option was to join a piece of material to it, but when I go the other way, it automatically jumps to cut. And look, I'm not even being very specific. I'm not saying it has to go 0.75 inches deep, which is the measurement for here. If I just pull it all the way through the part, it knows cut off all the material. Okay? So I'm going to hit OK, and now that notch is gone. That is where we do removal of material. We can use those cut functions either in extrude or in one of these shapes down here. And that's how we'll create this box. You're going to use those same functions to create this kind of box, okay? The only added thing is going to be that you will add a circle onto the face of here. So I'm going to show you a few tricks for adding a circle in, okay? So we're going to come back over here and say, what if I wanted to center a circle in this face right down here, okay? If I want to do that, I could do that, create cylinder thing. However, the cylinder is a little more tricky because there were no snap lines like we saw in the sketch function when we put that box on there. So it's not going to give you anything to snap to say, oh, this is the middle. And we need it very precisely in the middle. So I'm going to stay away from this one right now. I'm going to come up here and do create sketch. And I'm going to, I already chose that one, but if you hadn't, you would click on that surface. And now we're going to, I'm going to move this out of the way so I have a little bit bigger palette. I'm going to create a circle, but I don't have a center point. So what other options do I have? 2-point circle, a 3-point circle? Maybe we'll try this center circle. We'll see what we got here. So if we come along this side, did you see what happened as I was going along there? Boom. It fell into spot and there was a little diamond above it. You can kind of see it. I don't know if I can zoom in. There we go. It's snapping to the center of that notch. Okay? There's a center point. Now I'm going to go straight up from that. And it likes the center, so it's going to go that way. But look at that. It's not going to snap into place and find me the center from over here. If I pull that over, now it does. Okay? Those are called witness lines. So if I grab the center point of one, see, come along, find that center, and it snaps and pull it up, it will find any other witness line that I've already been using. And I'd already used that one from over here. So it automatically jumped together. And I could put that there. And then I pull out my circle and I can tell it however big I want it to be. I want it to be 0.5 diameter. Okay? So I finish my sketch. I pick my circle. and then I can extrude that. Again, you can hit this or you can just type the letter E, and I can pull it through my part all the way to the bottom. It will choose the cut function, and all of a sudden I have a hole through there. If I go to the top view, I can see right down through it. There it is. So your job now is to open up this drawing 3 from or use your worksheet. If you don't have your worksheet, it is in right here, dimensioning worksheet in 1.2.4. Okay. You are going to create this part in Fusion, and then you are going to open up the drawing and fully dimension it.